Good evening, Cubs and Cardinals fans. It's Thursday, May 7th, and this is the Team Rivals podcast, streaming live on X, YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. So wherever you're watching tonight, pecker smash that like button, subscribe, follow, comment, and repost so that we feel validated for spending our time here once a week. The NFL draft is behind us. Soccer season is all but over. So that leaves us with the original reason for this podcast. Go figure. Tonight, we're just primarily going to talk Cubs and Cardinals because the Cubs are good. Cardinals are good. And we've reached Ron's arbitrary, well, we're a couple games short of Ron's arbitrary 40-game limit. So we can probably start drawing conclusions about this season. I'm Pete Geddes, joined as always by number 171 on C70's 2024 Top Cards on Twitter, Ron Nuttall. And this week he's back. Permanent occasional guest host, Elliott Dewey Gents. Look, we're at 38 games for the Cubs. I think it's 36 or 37 for the Cardinals. They're the top two teams in the division. Cubs just about to make it a second 10-game winning streak of a very young season after struggling on the West Coast. And the Cardinals just won't go away. I think they're 3.5 or 4 games back right now.
4.
Is it 4?
4, but they have to.
I know it was 4 at the end of the Cubs game today. So
yeah, they have to play the Padres. They have to play the Padres tonight. So
okay. So as we go to tape, though obviously we're not taping.
What's tape?
Yeah, exactly. The Cardinals 4 games back could bring it back down to 3.5 with a win over the Pods. Fellas, I know we're not supposed to jump to conclusions or anything, and we can get into the Cubs injury woes and how long their pitching staff is going to hold up. But right now, the Cubs and the Cards are good.
Playing good baseball. And the crazy thing is, a week ago, this whole division was upside down. 10 days ago.
Oh, you mean
you could have flipped the order of this, where you had the Reds leading this division since the beginning of the season for the most part. And
I believe you're right, Elliot. It kind of was where you had, I think you had Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati kind of floating at the top. And then I feel like, Pete, the last couple of shows we've recorded, the Cubs have either been on a streak or ended a streak, or they're on another one right now. I don't like recording multiple shows, even when we delay them like 9 days apart, where the Cubs haven't lost a game yet. It just doesn't sit well with me. And I tell you what, so the administration wants to end things like, blockades of straits and all that stuff. So when's the administration going to act on the Cubs winning so many games in a row to ensure, or better yet, where's Bernie to say, hey, it's not fair. The Cubs should give some of their wins to other central teams.
Well, what do you want them to give up? Do you want them to give up the 9-game winning streak or the 14-game home winning streak?
15.
Or 15, my bad. And hey, they did. You know what, Ron? They did. They gave up their 3 consecutive walk-off wins, if that's any consolation.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
No,
I don't know. I don't know how much coverage there was for it down by you, but you're in Chicago.
I mean, yeah. What else do you want? They gave up 3 of their starting pitchers and still winning.
Yeah.
Well, they have another one on, like in the recent injury right now, right?
Yeah, Matt
that
Boyd
wasn't even a baseball injury.
went in for a meniscus tear.
Well, apparently it was minor. They said it
minor.
Might only be a month or so.
5 to 6 weeks. They said he should.
That's a month or so.
He'll probably be back right around the time Justin Steele gets back.
That's great. It's like making 2 trades for starting pitching.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. The Cubs are 26-12, 14 games above 500. We're close to my quarter turn.
Yeah,
right?
that's why I brought it up.
38 games for the Cubs. Well, it's only 36 right now to be 37 as tonight wraps up for the Cardinals. So just a little bit shy of that. But I did state either last week or the week before, it's a different quarter pull for the Cardinals, given what they're supposed to be doing this year, which is rebuilding, resetting, retool, whatever. And I wouldn't call it a retool, but I'd call it a rebuild. I cannot pass judgment on the Cardinals at 40 games, no matter how close we are. I can probably pass a little bit more judgment on the Cubs because they're not in a rebuild. So I think the Cubs look pretty damn good. Pains me to say it, but they look great. And every time we get on here, Pete, in the last like 3 weeks, 3 shows we've recorded, I feel like we're talking about a streak that the Cubs are on.
Yep.
It won't stop.
Yeah, I was going to say this is going to be a tough summer for Ron. So Cardinals fans, you may want to reach out and
not really,
give him some.
You
Because
gotta remember where Ron set his bar going into this.
Well, I know, but think about it, Ron. Soccer's over, so you're not going to have that basically over. So you're not going to have that distraction. I mean, it is over because you're following City, and clearly they're in a rebuild as well.
Oh shit.
They're about to start the rookie mini camps and everything with the NFL,
like the
but
Cardinals
that doesn't.
version of a rebuild so far more than I do Cities.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
The NFL, really won't start to get interesting until August or so. Mm-hmm. And look, man, the Cubs look good. Elliott and I are going to be insufferable if this continues. This is their best start. I mean, you're going to start hearing this more and more, Ron. This is their best start since 2016, since they won the World Series. So
I tell you what, though, having the entire NL Central being above 500,
only division so far, right?
Right, correct. The Cardinals playing well. Actually, I think the entire NL Central playing well, I think is good for baseball because
until the Reds came to.
Until the Reds came to town and continued their losing streak because they are now on a 7-game losing streak.
yeah, it's not great.
No, but still, they were winning. Even after the 7-game losing streak, they are still a couple of games above 500, and they will play Arizona, who hasn't been playing well at all most of the year.
Well, and I think the difference too is when you look at Central teams that are near the top right now or doing well. In prior years we'd say, well, we beat up on each other, or we beat up on the National League Central, and that's why our records are padded. But when we face the East or the West, then we face the real test. But over the last week, guys, or 10 days, the Cubs and Cardinals have taken 4 out of 6 games from the Dodgers. Right. So I don't know that I'm putting anybody on blast or notice, but
took 2 out of 3 from the Padres. Even though the West Coast trip didn't go as great. Yes, they lost 1 or 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, but then they went into San Diego and they took 2 or 3 from them.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I was wrong. The Cubs lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, or took 2 out of 3?
They lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers.
Well, fine. The top two teams in the National League Central with 3-3 against the Dodgers so far. So they're not. And then I realized the Dodgers were on a whatever scuttle, probably a better word. Whatever. I don't care. Dodgers don't own the Central, which is all I care about.
Yeah, despite their being on top of their division.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it too is you're right. You can't say that the Central teams haven't played each other because they're starting to now, right? I think the Pirates have played everybody in the Central, but the teams are starting to play each other. So, and it's not reflecting poorly on the records of the teams.
No, it's not, and their schedules have. I feel like at least St. Louis, as I obviously for obvious reasons paid most attention to, their schedule has been pretty spread. Like, it's not been concentrated to any one division at this point. Probably to the lesser degree to the National League East, which they faced the least. I know they faced the Mets. Probably missing somebody in there, but that's probably the division they've not faced as much. At least,
whereas the Cubs have. Cubs have already played the Mets. Have they played
Phillies,
the Nationals yet, Elliott?
And the Nationals, yep.
Yeah. And they play the Braves this coming week. And they've held their own against them.
The NL East was part of the first 10-game winning streak.
Right. And remember, we were supposed to be afraid of the NL East because of all the money that they spent in the offseason.
Yeah.
So, which just goes to show, I mean, as much as we complain about it, money isn't always the solution. You have to spend it wisely.
Well, I think that's nothing new that we've said. We've said that for years.
Right.
All of us have. You can.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I think I saw it today. I think the Blue Jays are in 4th and underwater in the AL East.
And they spent a ton.
Their big shopping spree this offseason hasn't paid off yet.
Yeah. At the quarter pole.
At the quarter pole. So at the quarter pole, Ron, are you buying where the Cardinals are at? Or is this really, they're the zombie team, man. They just won't go away, even when they're supposed to be bad.
There's a theory, no matter whether you're talking business or sports, right? Like when you hire a new hire, they don't know any better. They try hard all the time. They don't know where to pick their spots. So they're full bore.
Hates that guy.
I look at this. I look at the Cardinals team. Like they don't know any better yet. And so they have nothing to lose. There's no pressure on them. There's no pressure on them from the front office or management right now to get sent down to Memphis. They're given clear runway, leash to develop, to work on things, to go through cold spells and to work their way out of it. So they have nothing to lose. So they're just playing. Look, I predicted that they would win 70 to 72 games this year. They're at 21 right now. So I think if they get to that mark, I mean, they're going to have a pretty bad rest of the year, but I don't think they're going to be that bad the rest of the year. The thing that will probably hold them back is likely going to be the pitching. Starting a little bit, you could see some fractures maybe happen in the starting rotation with one or two guys. Their bullpen isn't great. I mean, I think there's some vulnerability there too. So I still think they're going to end up with 70 some odd wins, but I'll bump my prediction up to maybe 78, 79 at best.
So close to 500.
Yeah. Close to 500, which wouldn't be a bad year given where they're at.
I hate your team. I hate that they rebuild and them sucking is a couple of games under 500. We rebuild and we're trying to avoid triple digit losses.
Well, yeah, I understand that. But the way they're playing, the way they're competing though, and I do think a couple things, right? Like I'm not all there on Jordan Walker yet. He's had a great start to the year. The last game I watched, he went like 4 for 4. I don't think that kind of streak will continue for anybody. But I think he'll have a better year. I'm on the cut. I'm not going to say breakout, but I'm going to say maybe just under. But he's going to go through a cold spell at some point. More and more though, I think JJ Weatherholt is one that kind of Cardinals fans have been waiting for, like one of those prospects that actually come through. The closest thing we've had has been Mason Wynn, who's stuck. He's a very good player, but Mason Wynn is kind of like one of those. He's a WAR player, and for a week or two he'll be above WAR. For a week or two he'll be under WAR, but he'll always kind of end up at the mean. I think Weatherholt might be one of those that's a little bit better than that. Not like Hall of Fame caliber out of the gate, like Pujols was, which is where some Cardinals fans set their bar for success. That's insane. So I like the youth of the team. I like the energy, but they're going to face the league for a second, third, fourth time, and we'll see how they adjust to it. So I'm going to be watching patiently.
Pete, what's I know you're probably looking it up. What's Weatherholt sitting at right now for the season?
I don't know.
No.
He just scares me. I hate that you had a top 10 prospect.
I don't think that's a scary.
He's paying off.
I don't think he's a scary player to most other teams. I think he's going to be a nuisance on some games, but I don't think he's going to be one of those perennial all-stars. He's going to be a very good player, and we're going to love to have him in St. Louis. But I don't think he's going to be one of those Pujols threats. Come on, he's not going to be that.
All right. Well, let's just for your guys' sake, and obviously just because you don't want to see it, let's just make sure that he's not driving his Chevy Camaro at high speeds in the Dominican Republic this offseason. Okay.
Jesus Christ, that went dark. Dark so fast.
Well, you guys are a zombie team, so I had to bring up some voodoo.
Right. No,
it won't work.
No, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. So you buy Weatherholt and you're selling on Jordan Walker.
No, I'm going to hold on. If it was a stock, I'm going to hold. Okay. I'm not going to sell. I'm going to hold it.
Okay. Well, who did sell on a player? And Elliott, I'm going to have to ask you, what was your favorite part of the Dylan Carlson era in Chicago? Because if you missed it, you got released day before yesterday.
Oh no.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't hit in the majors. He didn't hit at AAA.
I mean, what did he have? 5 at bats
In the majors or at AAA?
No, with the Cubs.
Yeah, it was not a lot.
I mean, Michael Conforto has played himself to stay, because I think it was kind of a race. Like, who was going to perform the best off the bench before some of these pieces, like say a Suzuki came back and stuff like that. And, you know, I mean, obviously we knew Shaw was probably going to be a lock with his versatility, but Michael Conforto, man, I mean, the guy's got an OPS over 1,000 right now, and he went 3 for 3 again today with the start in right field, giving Seiya the day off.
He's got, I want to say 43 or 44 plate appearances for the Cubs this year.
Yeah.
Hey, look, but I don't want to get off of this because, like, it was fun listening to Ron complain about him when he was with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And so just to put a nail in it, just that final nail, I'll be surprised if anybody picks him up. Because in 10 games for the I-Cubs, he had 7 hits, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 4 runs, batting 175. Now, I know batting average doesn't matter.
Sure it doesn't.
But.
Well, I always called him when me and Braden would talk about him. I would always preface it by the extremely light hitting Dylan Carlson. No, he was one of those players that when he first broke in, I think it was 2019, 2020, around that time frame.
I think it's 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, it was. It was. He made his debut in an empty stadium with a bunch of cardboard cutouts of people. And
including your son.
And you really make your debut when you start seeing fans in there. So it's like you got to play, but you're playing in front of people the next year. So that's kind of a weird way to break in. So little sympathy points there. But at first he reminded me so much of Carlos Beltran just because he was a switch hitter. If you looked at his swing, his backswing and everything, like he reminded me so much of Carlos Beltran. But as time went on, he got more of an opportunity to play and they stuck with him. I'm no genius on looking at people, but sometimes you see people like, that's one of those hyped up prospects, worked his way, was really hot at AA, didn't get much time at AAA, typical Cardinal thing under the Mozeliak era where, a lot of hype, performed well at AA. Let's just accelerate them to the major leagues. So I don't know how much of this was. Look, I don't know if they would have done it the right way. I still don't know that he would have stuck or succeeded. So I don't know how much of this was on his development or lack thereof. But he's had a lot of time in the major leagues around a lot of hitting coaches and instructors and everything. He doesn't have it to stick. So
nope.
5 at bats.
5 at bats. Good times. Thanks for your service.
I'm sorry.
4. Look,
4 4.
Nobody wants to see somebody who's worked so hard at something fail. I mean, none of us do, no matter what team it's for. I'll want to see,
especially when they receive that kind of hype, because you can only imagine what the pressure is. If you're a player like that, right, where the expectations are built and you're expected to, whereas pick any one of the faceless guys who are coming out of the Cubs pen this year, where it's their first season in the majors. Nobody expects much out of them because they're coming out of the pen. They weren't hyped, right? But being a guy like Dylan Carlson or Paul Skeens or JJ Weatherholt, it's different.
Yeah. I mean, look a little bit like I can't really get mad at like baseball writers and those who rank minor league systems and players and put them in the top, whatever. Like they have a job to do, so they have to do that. But it's like, some of these guys have a lot of expectation piled on them. And ex baseball fans are some of the worst fucking breed ever to walk the planet in terms of like just hyping up and getting overexcited about minor leaguers coming up.
Well, and you never know. Maybe Carlson goes and he plays over in Korea or goes over and plays in Japan for a year or two and comes back and he's, changed his game a bit. I mean, we have the other part of that on the Cubs team right now with Conforto, who went and he was playing. He was a prospect. He had one really great year in New York. Correct.
He had a great year, but then he had a couple of solid years that followed.
Right, and then it
all fell apart.
It all fell apart. He went to Korea. He played for a year or two. Now that he's come back, it seems that, something was adjusted and changed over there, and now he's having success.
And I also think, though, that Craig Counsell is putting him in some favorable situations, right? When he brings him off the bench, when he's starting him, he's not
still got to hit the ball.
He does, but if you're being put out there and asked to hit the ball against somebody who you match up well against,
it's true. He's putting him in the best possible position.
I would say, Pete, that's a good manager that puts him in a spot.
Yeah, 100%.
And I would say that you brought Carlson up, maybe not under the same condition, right? Maybe his future would have been different under different circumstances with somebody who's thinking about him solely and strategically about him. That doesn't always happen because you can't afford to when you're competing in a season. But anyway, I mean the guy no harm. I think the most injustice is done by probably baseball writers and people who have to write up top whatever prospects. I definitely think that the Twitter at the time, X now, stupid ass fans like hyped him up so much that none of that helped. Not that front offices or coaching staffs are making their decisions on X, but we get annoyed by I do, which is why every fucking one of them have been muted for a long time.
Other fans read it and they get higher. They have higher expectations, and then then they'll complain about it on their keyboards.
Like the next best thing to save us is down in the minor leagues, and goddamn, this team just won't bring them up and save us.
Well, speaking about things that save us and that we didn't bring up from the minor leagues, I'm going to throw this one at you, E. Do we need to talk about extending Carson Kelly, keeping him around? I mean, I know he's old, but catchers usually develop on a slower timeline. Carson Kelly's been a stud now for a year and a quarter.
Yep.
And I know that they're probably eager to see who else they've got down there, but look, you have the best ABS challenger. He's probably, if he continues to experience the success that he has, he's going to add another WAR. The calculation is he's already saved a run. A little under a quarter of the way into the season. So if you play that out, it'll be right around one WAR. Am I getting out over my skis, or do we need to see about keeping Carson Kelly around?
Well, the question is, who replaces them, and are they going to be as good? If the answer is no, then yeah, you extend him. Right now, Mo Baller is, he came out the gate hot. He's not having as much success as he was before, but he's still hitting the ball. He's still making contact. We definitely know that his behind the plate skills aren't anywhere near what Carson Kelly is. Amaya is still playing solid ball. He's still catching well. He's still sort of seen as your defensive backstop. I'd say you take a look at it, maybe about 3/4 of the way through the season, see where he's at. If he's still continuing to have success, then you probably start engaging his agent for an extension.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I think that Craig Counsell loves having the option of, like, Mo is not a butcher behind the plate. He's not on the level of Carson or Miggy. But he wasn't terrible in that game. And he'll get better. I think Craig loves having the possibility that he essentially has 3 catchers.
He's got 3 catchers on the team, and everybody was kind of like, "How the heck can you carry 3 catchers?" Well,
one of them's your DH.
One of them is your DH, and he's been successful at it.
Yep.
So, and you have enough guys on the bench that can come out and take over if you need to replace one of them for speed on there, and you've got those pieces to move around where you're always going to have someone to be able to be behind the plate.
Right.
So I do not see this as a bad thing at all.
If
you were to ask somebody else and say, "Hey, what would you think if your team was carrying 3 catchers?" You'd be like, "Why?"
Yep. Well, speaking of bringing guys off the bench and stuff, saw something interesting that happened in the game the other night. I don't know if you caught it, Ron. You wouldn't have.
Nope.
But the Cubs extra innings game, I want to say it was Tuesday night's game.
Okay.
I forget who it was who was on the mound, who they replaced. But they brought in a new pitcher, and when they did, he replaced the DH. So the Cubs
was that
gave
they
up
brought
the
in
DH.
Rollinson?
It might have been. The
I
Cubs
think it
gave up
was.
the DH at the end of the game in extra innings. Now, pitcher went into the 7 slot, which means that if it came up, he wasn't going to come up for another 3 innings, and the likelihood that you were going to make it to the 12th inning was very minimal. Yeah, we saw something that we hadn't seen in a while. We saw a team, a National League team, that for an inning or so had a pitcher in the batting order. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of you, Ron.
Well, you can see the Dodgers doing that on purpose at some point, right?
Well, I thought of you, and then I was outraged because I was like, if this was the Dodgers, they wouldn't have lost their DH. Well, it would have been Ohtani.
It's right. Let me ask you guys a question, because I actually didn't pay attention to this. I don't think Ohtani pitched against the Cardinals. He didn't.
He didn't pitch against the Cubs either.
Nope. So when he has pitched, who have they DH for? Because I've not noticed. You guys noticed?
You mean who is Ohtani DHing for? Technically, he's DHing for himself.
Okay. I wasn't sure how they did
because
that.
Because when he's done pitching and he moves out
to hit.
He continues to hit. He doesn't play the field, but he continues to hit.
Whatever.
Although they could send him out to play the field and they wouldn't lose the DH as long as he was moving from DH to the field. So he could start a game. See, and this is the bullshit about the rule. He could start a game as the pitcher.
Change in the order, though.
His batting position wouldn't change at all.
Okay.
But here's where the Dodgers have an advantage, right? Ohtani starts the game. He comes out as the pitcher. He stays in as the DH. Somebody comes in to pitch. Then they could move him out to right field if they wanted and have somebody else come in and be the DH, and they don't lose the DH. Any other team would.
Well, but no other team has a pitcher player.
I understand that, but
that's the argument against that. Like, hey, we've got the golden boy here that can do both, and that's the rule. If you've got one too, it's you're welcome to the same rule.
But nobody has one, and nobody is gonna have one. Like the closest to it is Michael Lorenzen, and he's a terrible pitcher.
We're all specialized now. I mean,
yes, that's right.
Ohtani's the last travel kid. He's the American Legion player.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of travel kids, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Ron. In fact, we're gonna put you in the big screen.
Oh, don't do that.
We're gonna do that. The oldest, not the oldest, the oldest of the second set of Nuttall sons.
Yes.
Played in his first playoff game this week, correct? His first high school playoff game as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly he's better than his dad. Is he better than his uncle? Are we gonna see Sam Nuttall?
Are you talking about my brother Scott?
No, his uncle, as in your brother-in-law. Is he gonna get?
Well, so Eric was a pitcher, not a position player. It's hard to compare the two.
So you're saying that he's not as good because he was a pitcher?
Yes, maybe I am. No. Eric was he was left-hander, so he made it as a pitcher. Sam is not left-handed, but he bats left-handed, but he's not left-handed. He's a position player, but he's kind of he is the Ben Zobrist of his high school team. Literally, like most games he does play second base, starts there. But in the playoff game, because the shortstop, hold on, I'm sorry. Depending on who's pitching, will dictate where Sam is playing when he starts a game. So the playoff game, he started in left field. Eventually, the shortstop, who's their star player, went in to pitch in relief later. Sam went in and played short. Then he ended up at second. So Sam really is a Ben Zobrist type of his high school team, which is good in a lot of ways, right? Like he's versatile. They can put him. He's literally played every position. I think literally every position but first base.
So he's pitched.
He's pitched. He's caught. He used to
as a freshman.
Yeah, he didn't. No, I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. He did not catch this year for his varsity team, but he's caught for his other team, his travel ball team. He'll catch for every so often, depending on who's pitching. So yeah, I mean, he plays about every position. The only one he doesn't play really is first base.
How many gloves does he have?
He has 3 gloves. He has a catcher's mitt. He has
outfield.
He has 2 gloves. He doesn't really have a specialized outfield glove, but he has a couple that he likes.
Usually the outfield ones are a little bit taller.
Yeah.
And then your infield glove is going to be your shorter
the outfield glove.
Quicker.
I played in college. The outfield glove, you put your hand in a little bit different position to make more of a web, more of a basket. And the infield, you don't want as much of that. So he does have one of each.
So you heard it here first, TOR fans, followers, masochists. Buy early on Sam Nuttall. Hey, what's going to hurt more? Mark McGuire's kid making it to the majors as a Cubs relief pitcher, or Sam getting drafted by the Cubs?
Fuck me.
Oh God, Ron's going to have to wear.
What
Cubs
would
gear.
you do?
I wouldn't care who you got drafted by. To be honest with you,
what would he do? Let's play this out. I'm going to put us all in so that we can. Okay. Let's play this out. Okay.
Yeah.
3 years from now, he's got a commitment to, I don't know, Vanderbilt. Okay. He's going to go be the Diego Pavia of the baseball team. Okay. Short and drunk. Okay. So he's got a commitment. He's got NIL money. The Cubs draft him. Are you telling him to go to college or chase the dream?
Well, first of all, if you think I'm going to be impacted by a major league team drafting me, I would not care that it's the Cubs. The fact that a major league team would be willing to draft him, I'd be thrilled. It wouldn't matter.
What if he comes to you and he says, "Dad, I don't want to play for the Cubs"?
I don't think I would imagine a scenario where.
Did you tell him to go to college still? Forget about what it
would probably depend on what
this
round
is all hypothetical.
He got selected.
No, I know. Because he's a freshman right now, it's hard to read, right? Like he's going to do so much growing over the next 2 or 3 years that he can be a completely different person by the time he's a senior in high school. So it's really hard to say, like right now, how I'd feel about it. I think that my knee-jerk reaction, I'd be like, go to college, sharpen up, get refined. You're going to face more intense competition there. Yes, you will in minor leagues too. But you can also be discarded real quick in the minor leagues because you're very young. There's mental and maturity development too that happens when you are 18 to 22. It's a huge difference in how people think, how emotional you are. So I don't know.
Also, coming out of college, they tend to move up the ranks faster. You don't see many college grads who start out at low A.
Yeah, that's true.
I would imagine that most of the guys that you're seeing at Myrtle Beach are either high school draftees or international signees.
Yeah, true. And it could be
they're more advanced.
And it could be more of a grind, and you're putting a grind on a very young person. And so my knee jerk would be, yeah, I mean, I think you should go to school if you're getting a good scholarship and you've got good, if the program's there that can build you and put you in a better position in 2 or 3 years, to still get drafted, but higher. That would be my reaction to that. But who knows? Who knows what he's going to look like next year and the year after that? I'm like, so there's, as a freshman, it's impossible to say what I would ultimately recommend that he do, but it's his choice.
All right. So then 3 years later, he declares for the draft. He's got his degree and the Cubs draft him again. Who's buying the Nuttall Cubs jersey first? And is it getting shipped to your home or is it getting shipped to Ron?
Oh, I'd be the first one to buy it.
Sure about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I may already have one on pre-order.
Well, no, I mean, if I don't care what team it was. If he got drafted by a major league team and went, yeah, I'd be the first one with the jersey for sure. I don't care who bought it.
Who knows? Maybe we're all wearing Nuttall jerseys.
Starting for the Chicago Cubs at second base in 2035.
That's a ways away.
Sam Nuttall. Hey, if he does, we expect to be there in the family booth.
You guys will be if that happens. If we're all still alive.
I just can't. I can't wait. Look, obviously, this is all a fantasy and everything. I can't wait to see Ron going nuts cheering for a Cubs player.
And singing "Go Cubs Go"
beating the Cardinals on a walk-off home run.
If it was my own kid, I would be able to tune. I would be able to channel myself to be able to do that.
Cubs Cardinals, end of the 2035 season. They're tied in the standings. They're closing out the year, and Sam walks off the Cardinals and sends the Cubs to the playoffs as the NL Central champion.
It would be an easy choice. It's it's your kid. It wouldn't be a hard sell. I might not have been able to imagine it 10 years ago, but it wouldn't be hard now.
I got to say, Ron, it's really cool that he's experiencing so much success.
Well,
and you keeping us in the loop on it as he continues to. It's really cool. I'm glad we could share it with you.
Well, and I appreciate that, guys. And the thing is that's unique about his experience here is like it's a funny part of this too. But he's facing competition that I didn't face until I was probably, later as a sophomore or junior. And he's getting it as a freshman, younger than me. When he was a freshman.
Down the game for him.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, like at the beginning of the year, I mean, he was outmatched a lot and it showed, really behind, not sure how to adjust to guys that are throwing over 80 miles an hour when you're 15 years old. You've never seen that before. But he hasn't struck out in the last 7 or 8 games. Like he's not getting a lot of hits, but he's making contact, and he's see him teach himself how to adjust his swing and his timing and everything to catch up with that stuff has been interesting. Now the funny thing is he still plays rec league a little bit, and now he has to go back down to guys that are throwing 50, 60. And it's literally like you've played college ball, now you're brought into a celebrity softball game, and you cannot hit a slow pitch. It's like going as a base. Pete's seen me play golf before.
It's kind of like Freddie Freeman facing Anthony Rizzo.
Exactly what it's like. That is the best thing. I was about to bring up an example, Elliott. I think you put it better. It is exactly like Freddie Freeman facing Anthony Rizzo, and that's what Sam's experience. But I told Sam, like, look, good pitchers are going to throw off your timing. They're going to throw fast. They're going to throw slow. You're going to have to learn how to adjust to it. So it's a learning thing for him. So that's what I'm witnessing. His learning curve has been more extreme than mine was. So, hats off to him for his ability to be humble about it and adjust. So that's been a fun thing to watch for me.
Awesome.
Anyway.
I think it's that time.
I didn't want to do it. I knew you were going to go there.
I got nothing fancy to introduce it. So let's just say that it's time for Ron's Soccer Minute.
City is maddening. As much progress as they've shown, even though there have been losses that have racked up, and they beat the Chicago Fire in the Open Cup, which I'll put a pin in the Open Cup tournament for a second. They show up at a game. It's on the road, but they just lay a complete egg and can beat 2-0 in Austin. Austin's a decent team, but they're not a great team. But St. Louis somehow has the ability to make a mediocre team look like a great team, and they did it. And Saturday's game was a complete fucking waste of time. They had no ability to move the ball upfield. They did it.
Uh-oh.
Apparently, we've got technical difficulties.
Yeah, we lost him.
We did. Well, it looks like he's logged off and is coming back, so we have that to look forward to. I was waiting for him to finish. I'll ask him when he gets back, assuming he gets back. If City plays Newcastle, how does that play out?
No,
you know what it would. You know what it would be. Newcastle would jump out to a 1-0 lead,
and then they'd lose in the final.
And then they would give up the equalizer in the final minute.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my bet.
And then they would commit a penalty and then lose on a penalty shot.
Yeah, right.
In the final 3 minutes.
That's my bet. What he'll say is Newcastle will score first, and then they'll give up the equalizer in the final minute. If he even comes back,
he doesn't have storms and stuff out there, does he? That would have knocked out the power.
I don't know. I know that he had mentioned that he was having some technical issues, but that was with his board, not with.
Nope. No storms out there.
Huh. Well, I'm not going to give him any more time than he deserves.
All right.
Anything else that we didn't cover you want to talk about?
Would really love to see the Cubs hit that 10-game winning streak tomorrow with Ben Brown with his first start of the year. Did he
get the nod? I hadn't seen that.
Ben Brown gets a nod. What a difference having a third pitch makes, man. So far, so good, and good for him. Glad to see the success start to pile up here for him. But
oh yeah, and it looks like it's going to be Kumar Rocker.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes tomorrow. Excited about that. Let's keep it rolling. Get to that 15 games over.
So they still have JMO in for it was Boyd who got hurt himself. So
right,
we're looking at Ben Brown, Edward Cabrera, and Jameson Taillon as the probables for the Cubs. So see what happens. Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice to rack up a second 10-game winning streak, especially so soon in the season. Like, how often can you say that you've won 10 in a row twice in the first 40 games?
Would they say 1936?
Was it?
Something like that. I think it was like 1936 or something. So pretty crazy.
Yep.
So
this week's been nuts.
And the other thing is the 15 games in a row at home that they've won. They are 18-6, 18-5 at home this year. I mean, you always want to be quite a few games above 500, but to be this many games above 500 at home at this point in the year,
and without getting any real meaningful contributions from the pitching staff. I mean, Shota's looked good.
Yeah.
And Cabrera has been, with the exception of this most recent start, Cabrera has been as good as advertised. But, it's been hit or miss with the starters, and the bullpen has just been a Band-Aid job the whole time.
Shota continue pitching the way that he is now. Does that make it impossible for the Cubs to re-sign him for next year? I
don't know. I think you got to consider it. If he continues to pitch like this, I think you have to consider it, right? Because part of the reason why they said that they weren't unhappy that he accepted the QO,
right,
was because they believed that he had been injured and that had affected how he pitched. And the early returns are that actually was the case. It was interesting. They talked about it on one of the broadcasts the other day. I don't know if you caught this, but they mentioned how they were working with Shota they were giving him a different visual strike zone when he was in like some of his bullpen sessions, cutting off the top and the bottom of the like putting an additional string in, to try to get him to work on really pushing it up in the zone, or down in the zone, but particularly up in the zone because of the nature of his fastball.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
They really want him attacking when he's throwing his fastball, they really want him attacking the top of the zone, right?
Right, because where he got himself in trouble is when he was still in the strike zone at the top of the zone. Guys were able to tee off on that.
They essentially want him throwing it right at the upper edge of the zone.
Yeah.
So that if he misses high.
Hey, boys. I'm not sure.
Hey,
welcome back. Would you lean on the power button?
Maybe I did. Why is the soccer minute up there?
There you go. Because you didn't finish.
Did you hear any of it?
We heard you talking about what a show it was, but that they were inconsistent.
Okay. Well, that's probably all you need to hear.
Well, we got a question for you, Ron.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give away what I said I thought. Elliott has an entry here too, but if Newcastle played City, what would be the result?
Probably 6-1.
No.
Damn.
We were way off.
Yeah. I thought that you were going to say, honestly, I thought that you would say that it was, why am I in the big screen? There.
I don't know.
I said that, I thought that you were going to say that Newcastle would go up 1-0, but then would give up the equalizer in the 90th minute.
Not against City. I would say that if Joel Linton is on the pitch, Newcastle is definitely winning by at least 5 goals. So 6-1, 7-2, whatever. I think that's how it rolls.
Interesting. Yeah, I just sometimes those English teams they're just so much better than the US teams for sure.
Well,
they play a different brand of soccer.
Right. And I have to look no farther than the Champions League, which Newcastle played in and did really well in the Champions League, except for the last game against Barcelona. They were scoring goals all the time. Premier League has been Newcastle's bugaboo this year. It wasn't the Champions League. It was the Premier League where they haven't performed at all. Which should be the priority, by the way. I know getting into Europe is a big deal. It's what you want. It's a lot more money, a lot more resources you can put in your team because you make those kind of leagues. But Premier League performing in the Premier League has to be the priority. Right, Pete?
Yeah, I was, you spurred me to take a look at the table. Speaking of, Wrexham misses out on the playoffs for the championship by I think it's a point. So they'll have to play in the championship against next year. But there's still a good chance that they're going to get to play in one of the largest stadiums in the Prem because while they moved up out of the relegation bin, Spurs are only a point away. They're up on West Ham by a point. So it's not over.
And Newcastle plays West Ham. I don't know if it's the next game or the game after that, but
yeah, it's coming up.
So Newcastle will have something to say about the promotion relegation of West Ham at least, and Tottenham, right? So
yep, I'm counting on you, Newcastle. Counting on you to play down to the level of your competition and Offer no better than a draw. I do not want to see Newcastle walk out of there with a win. I want Spurs to go down sheerly for the comedy of it.
Split points. Well, Newcastle's not playing at home, so that's perfectly fine, right? In the world of soccer, I've learned, and we've learned, a draw on the road is a win. I'm not sure that a lot of baseball managers we've known over the years take a Mike Ditka. Would he take a draw on the road as a win? I mean, we don't do the same point system, but
no.
It's a hard concept for Americans to wrap their heads around, I guess.
It is. Yeah. All right, so the 3 remaining fixtures for West Ham, it's Arsenal, Newcastle, and Leeds. And for Spurs, it's Leeds, Chelsea, and Everton. So, I mean, I think West Ham's best opportunity to pick up additional points is going to come against Newcastle.
Well, and they beat them earlier in the year, like 2-1.
Yep.
Which unbelievable.
And that was at St. James, wasn't it?
No, it was in West Ham. They play West Ham, I think, in St. James Park, which is obviously an advantage of Newcastle. So they should do it. Yeah, a lot of questions around Newcastle right now. So it appears the manager's going to stay there, which I think is probably right. You think about last summer, the transfer window, they had no sporting director. They had no president of the team. So last summer was a disaster when you have a star player wanting a move without having like a front office there, basically. It'd be like an equivalent to baseball fans that you have no Pobo or GM, and you have the manager making all the calls or trying to, while he's also trying to train his team in preseason. It was a disaster last summer, so it's hard to hang a lot of that on Eddie Howe, but he deserves some criticism for not being able to get the best out of a lot of expensive players they bought over the summer too. So I don't know where I fall in this. This soccer thing is so, I'm not going to say foreign to me right now, but it's so unpredictable. Like, we are able to predict manager firings in baseball pretty well.
Yeah. Signings
reasonably well. You start breaking into the soccer transfer window, and you us three on here trying to predict what's going to happen, we're going to be idiots.
Well, and also, how often do you see a major league team? Obviously, our focus here is baseball, but I think it holds true for most other sports. How often do you see a team sign a player in the offseason, right? Sign or trade for a player in the offseason, a big acquisition, and then don't play him? That's precisely what Eddie Howe did this year. Right? He got 2 big names, and they haven't seen the pitch nearly as much as their salaries or their, I should say, their transfer fees would have justified.
No, it would never happen here, because if the high salary players get the playing time,
right.
Period. Right. Yeah. Usually that's how it works. So yeah, this whole soccer thing is a learning curve for us old and young men. So I've been wrong a lot. So I don't even try to predict what's going to happen. But summer transfer window, Newcastle are going to probably, I think all but certain, they're going to miss out on European football next year. So they're going to be playing once a week. Obviously, that's a revenue hit. So they're going to have to sell some players. I think the thing is right now, like Tonali and Gordon are going to be the players that are likely to be moved on. So if they can get good transfer numbers from both of them in terms of dollars, then they can buy some talent. But I don't know. It's a whole new thing for us, gentlemen.
All right, well, Ron, how about we just get you to predict this weekend? Newcastle has Leeds, and City has LAFC.
Huh. I like Newcastle's chances against Leeds. I think Newcastle's got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder right now. They beat Brighton, which is a much better team than them in terms of standings this year. I like Newcastle's chances, but City against Elliott.
2 points up on Leeds right now, I believe.
Right. Yeah, not a lot, but a little bit. I like their chances against Leeds. City against LAFC. I don't know that City has ever beat LAFC. They've only drew them, I think, once or twice. So not good odds.
Maybe they should break out the gold kits. Good luck. Good vibes.
Absolutely. I try to give grace a little bit to that uniform. I fucking hate.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
I turned it on this weekend. I was like, God, I'm going to leave the game on, but I'm not going to look at the TV because it looks awful. And I, you know what my biggest problem with it is? When I think of St. Louis, and I know that the Blues aren't that color, but when I think of St. Louis, I think of red.
Right.
I just do, right? The Arizona or the St. Louis football Cardinals, right? The St. Louis Cardinals. Anytime that I think of a football team, yeah, I know the Rams were blue and gold, but still, when I think of a color for a city, St. Louis, I immediately think of red. I don't think of gold. Gold is not that color.
And people that launch at people that don't like that uniform think, oh, you don't like Tina Turner. It has nothing to do with her.
It had nothing to do with Tina Turner.
Nothing to do with
a really ugly design.
A really shitty kit.
Yeah.
And they have a bad home kit. But given the new away kit, the gold one, it makes the home kit look acceptable. And it's still bad. Like with a half-ass collar. If you're going to do a collar, I call the city kit right now, the home kit, like kind of that half-ass collar, like fake collar. It's like vaping. You either smoke or you quit. You can't be caught in this stupid position where you're vaping. And the city home kit is vaping. Either smoke or don't.
Stop being a pussy.
Right. Make a choice. You either have a collar or you don't.
I got to tell you, like, I don't understand. Let's throw it back on here. I don't understand sports teams. What's the word I want to say? I don't understand their fascination, their desire to make questionable fashion choices, I guess you'd say. The lad and I watched the Miami Grand Prix this past weekend. He came over for a couple hours and we watched the Grand Prix. And, you know, Mercedes usually has their players in like a black fire suit or a white fire suit. I think one of the best looks ever was in his heyday when Lewis Hamilton was rocking the all white fire suit for Mercedes. But I got to show you guys this because it kind of is of a piece with the gold kits for St. Louis. This is what Kimi Antonelli and George Russell were wearing this weekend in Miami. Let me pull it up on there. Look at that. Purple.
Are you
just
shitting me?
A god awful purple. Let me zoom in on it. There you go.
I'm colorblind and that looks terrible.
It's horrendous. It was awful.
Oh my God.
I don't know the standard for racing, so this could be normal. It could be, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, it's the alternate because they were in Miami. But the standard, they normally wear like just a black fire suit and it looks good. Here, let me pull it up and I'll show you. Same two drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. There you go.
Oh yeah.
That looks good.
I would agree. That looks better than the purple.
The purple is awful. And it's just it's of a piece, I think. Why teams like the White Sox alternate uniforms that are made to look like the Bulls.
Oh God, those are so awful.
Terrible. Like, why is it that teams make such egregious fashion choices?
And they do the pinstripe ones that are just
guys. We look at everything, and whether it's Hollywood or everything else. Like, there has to be at some point in time, like a sanity check on things, like just a realistic, average, everyday person. Ask them, and they'll look at it and go, that looks like shit.
Well, this is what we've been talking about this for 10 years now, Ron? We've long said that every team should have a vice president of common sense who just sits there and plays Sudoku all day. And then when they're going to make a big decision, they just walk in and be like, hey, Ron. Chaim Bloom walks into your office. Hey, Ron, we're thinking of bringing back Dylan Carlson, putting him in the middle of the lineup. What do you think?
Go pound sand.
All right. Got it. We will not do that. And then Chaim walks in again. Hey, Ron, we really like what City did. We're going to start wearing a gold alternate uniform this season. What do you think?
Let me paint that a little bit different. We want to honor Tina Turner.
There you go. We want to honor Tina Turner.
And they would explain to me her St. Louis roots, and I'd be like, okay, you know what? I like that. I'm on board.
And then they walk in a week later. Here's the uniform we're going to wear. It's going to be all gold.
That's shit. That doesn't reflect Tina Turner. That's going to make people hate City.
Every team, vice president of common sense.
Yeah.
And he covers everything. Covers everything. On the field decisions.
Promotions,
alternate uniforms, all of it.
So you're going to have a bobblehead for a guy that we don't know if he'll stay in the majors all year or be sent down. We're not going to have a bobblehead for him.
We're not going to do that.
Because what's going to happen is you're going to feel compelled to bring him back up for his bobblehead night.
That's right.
Harrison Bader.
And here's the way that I propose to do.
They did this for Harrison Bader. Fuck them for doing that. They totally did this for Harrison Bader. Bobblehead night for him. He was down in Memphis, miraculously sent back up for his bobblehead night.
See, I think that there is some legitimacy to this. Like, you have to get a guy who has no connection to sports at all. You pay him the minimum, right? You pay him like $75,000 for what is basically a no-show job most of the time.
Mm.
And you tell him, and you tell him, like, we don't even want you coming into the office. We don't want you around because we don't want you to get too immersed in the color. We just want you available.
You just need to be available for Teams meetings when we need you.
Right. When we're making a big decision, we need you to be able to zoom in.
Member. It's a board member. Yeah. Is what it is.
It is. We don't want you to have any connection because we want you to retain your normal guy status. Who's the forward-looking?
Normal guy operations.
Yeah.
There you go. You know what? I'm still looking for work. I'm going to reach out to Jed Hoyer. Jed, I have a proposal for you. Director of Normal Guy Operations. You don't even have to give me the vice presidency. Director of Normal Guy Operations. Anytime you guys are going to make a decision.
$125K a year. We're good.
You don't even need to pay me that much. If I don't have to go anywhere, I just have to sit here and watch.
Pete, we got to start.
Okay, we'll start up there.
That's why I never hired you as my agent.
I'll take 75 just to sit on my ass.
Oh, God. I would start at 125. I'm going to give you the best advice ever.
Okay.
You can't buy this shit.
You're right. All right, boys. You got anything else that you want to cover, or are we done?
No.
Right.
Good.
We're done.
We are so done. Oh, all right. Well, if you enjoyed this, make an appointment with your psych and get yourself checked out. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Team Rivals podcast. Be sure to comment, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and tell your friends that we're still here. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. And we stream live every week on X. Well, almost every week on X, Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. And keep an eye out because, Ron, am I incorrect? There might be a little special episode coming up soon, a bonus episode. Yes, no?
No, we do.
You want to tease it a little?
Former colleague of mine that we used to be part of what used to be called Arch City Media. Now I believe it's called Lighthouse. He wrote a book about Cardinals you wouldn't remember. Basically, I'm summarizing it, but top 50 Cardinals that you didn't know were there. I predict
Ryan Theriot.
I don't know that he's in there. He might be, but he sent me an advanced copy, so I'm going to check it out starting tomorrow. But I'm going to record with him on Sunday. You guys are welcome to join it because I think it'd be a fun read. I predict that names like Fernando Valenzuela will end up on that list. Yeah, it should be a fun one. It kind of reminds me of one of those kind of like a Mark Littell-ish book where it's going to be very entertaining, fun. Names that ended up in Cardinals uniforms that you would forget, that you wouldn't remember. So I think that's a good premise.
So keep an eye out for that bonus episode.
Yeah.
You can follow the show on socials at Team of Rivals Pod. You can find Elliott even when he's not on the show on X at
TOR_Elliott.
And you can find Ron at.
Yeah, the audio last week was terrible. I apologize for that. I was on AirPods, which is my bugaboo. I did not bring a portable mic.
It was terrible. I did all I could.
You did your best.
Yes, I did. My best wasn't good enough.
Probably going to have to do your best again.
Well, we'll see. So for Ron and Elliott, I'm Pete. We will see you next Tuesday.